So today I have the pleasure of trying out a new power station. This is the Marxon G1500, and it is kind of in the large unit category in the sense that it has 1800 watt inverter and a 1440 watt hour LiPo4 battery. So that's kind of like a lot of capability, a lot of capacity right here. Like when I'm looking at this, okay, I can see a couple of things right away that's like stands out to me as different from other units. First of all, kind of the shape. The controls are not on the front or here. Actually, it's like sideways. This to me kind of looks like a desktop computer, and can be used as a UPS. So it could stand right next to your desktop and, you know, be used as an uninterruptible power source if you wanted to. But in general, controls are on this side. I rather like that actually. In the back here, we also have, and we want to charge it up. We have a light. In order for the light to work, we need to turn the unit on. We could do that. Should we look into it? Take a look what this guy is about. How does it differ from other units? Basic and functional. So you have your usuals, USBs, your AC, and this. At first I was looking at this and I was like, what is this? This is if you want to connect two of these units together to create a larger unit. In fact, according to Marxon, when you have two of these G1500 units parallel together, you can charge your EV, RV, van, and more through the TT30R outlet of the parallel cable. And you'll have a total of like 3600 watt AC power output. The screen here, basically just our percentage, and then it lists the input and the output watts if we are, you know, drawing in or drawing out. I'm kind of just getting used to this unit myself. Let's put it through its paces, right? Let's use it for something. I mean, this is a substantial unit, so it should be able to handle pretty much anything you throw at it. 1800 watt inverter is a high inverter. I think the surge was like 3600 watts. So you have a lot of like flexibility there. My first thing that I always like to do is to boil water, because boiling water takes a lot of power. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, so we got 1400 watts. Can keep using our water boiler for 47 minutes at this pace of 1400 watts. Started at what, 91% down to 88%. Water, you know, boiling water does drain it relatively fast. You can obviously charge this AC in the wall. I believe it's supposed to take about an hour to an hour and a half. Depending on like whether you needed to go to 80% or 100%. And then we have solar, of course, is another option. And this unit can actually handle up to 600 watts of solar coming in. That's a high amount. So the solar input is 11 to 70 volt. So you have a wide range of acceptable voltage there, which is kind of nice. It gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of your solar panels. 25 amp max. There's a solar charge controller inside of here, but the one thing you do need is Anderson connections to your solar panels. I don't actually have any extra Anderson connections. I was looking around. So we need that to your solar panels, and then that's what you connect in this unit right here. In terms of weight and size, 40 pounds. 40 pounds is very doable in terms of lifting it. Of course, you don't really want to go hiking with it, but in terms of size, it's a good size. The handles are rather useful too. It's just starting to rain here now, so let's go inside the house in case we lose power, and we can do some more testing. That sounds fun. So if the power went here, this is one of the first things I would plug in. This is a portable fridge freezer unit where we keep a lot of extra food. So it's currently drawing like 50 watts, and it says here we can run this for 16 hours, but we should be able to run this a lot longer than that because freezer units go, you know, they cycle in and out of charge. So for the longest time, it wasn't drawing anything. It turns on, it shuts off. So this is my 5-year-old son's desk. He very much likes electronics, and he's got kind of a collection of stuff here, so I thought let's plug in all of his stuff and see how much that uses. So what are we going to plug in?
See this battery?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Currently running 65 watts about, so the electronic setup of a 5-year-old. What do we have here? We are charging up a battery, we are running a LED lamp, We have a Google device and a small laptop. And basically it just goes to show here that most electronics use so very little power, so 67 watts. This office right here is where it's a little bit more reasonable to run a UPS. We have a desktop, we have a monitor, we have multiple drives, we have printers, and you would just plug everything into the unit. And that way, if there was an emergency, it would just funnel through and nothing would shut off. And desktops, monitors, hard drives, things like that doesn't draw a whole lot of power. It would give you plenty of time to shut everything off or to run it for some time if you need to do that, if you're running servers or whatever it is. I'm curious about one thing. Will I be able to charge my EV using this unit? I've so far not found a single power charger that will allow me to do this. So let's try this one out. I mean, I'm expecting it not to work. The only reason why I'm thinking it's even a possibility is because it has this ground plug area that you can connect to another unit, so there is a ground component to this, and it's a rather large inverter. Of course, it's not level 2 or it's not fast charging, but I'll be curious if it would work at all. It's not registering, it's not charging, so I think I need to buy a component to create the illusion of a ground. I think there is such a product, I just haven't looked into it. There's one thing that some of these units can handle and some can't is an AC. So let's see how this guy does here. Now the problem often occurs as you bring the temperature down. So usually it can handle it at higher temperatures, but then when the cooling unit starts to work harder, it often... So currently we are using only 63 watts. Let's bring the temperature down. And there's the air compressor go. The compressor goes on now. 345, okay, it's using, okay, so this can handle it. Tried several units now where I thought this was gonna work, but once I bring the temperature down, the unit just can't handle it and the AC shuts off. But in this case, we seem to have no issue. Of course, an AC is not linear either. Once it's reached its temperature, it's going to use less, then it kind of cycles through. It all depends on the temperature, right? If it's really hot outside and you need to bring the temperature down inside, it might just be cranking away. But if it's not that hot, or it all depends on the situation. But if we just say that it's using 350 watts per hour, how long could you run this unit for? So what about 4 hours? Something like that. But probably longer than that, because it is not just linear, right? You could probably use it for a whole night. Now on the opposite side of the spectrum, we obviously have heat. We have like a, space heater here. 560, 579, perfect. 560, 579 though, to keep it on high, it's going to draw the battery rather quickly, right? So you might get 3 hours on high. Again, it's going to cycle through. If you have, at least if you have a heater with a thermometer. I must say it is really nice to work with a unit where you don't have to fiddle with a different mode in the app, where you might have to do like a power riding, power overcharge mode, which can sometimes be a little finicky. Here we don't have an issue. We plug it in, it works, right? We're drawing almost 800 watts, so a fair amount. But that's what it's made for, right? It's built to be able to handle those kinds of things. Now we have the fan coming on inside this unit, so you can see that it's drawing. Okay, Marxon. Nice thing about this is that there's no power brick. It's all inside the unit, so you're charging it up. There's just a cord. 200 watts coming in, we're at 81%. One thing, you have to remember to shut this unit off, shut the AC off or the DC off when you're not using it, because it doesn't automatically shut off, so you want to make sure you don't drain the battery accidentally, because that's no fun. There's no fan that comes on when it's charging at this point. Anyway, the fan kind of goes in and out in general as you're using it. For the most part, it's not on, so it is quiet. I know some units where there's a fan in the power brick. There's a fan in the unit, comes on every time you charge it. It's rather loud, something you may not think about ahead of time. Not the case here. When I look at this, I see something, okay, it is basic, it is functional, like it does its job. You don't have to fiddle around with an app to get it to do different things. And while like apps and stuff like that can be appealing at times, I think often it actually makes things more confusing. And you don't want to be messing around with connecting it to Bluetooth and it disconnects and then finding something, and it's just kind of like an extra level of something to deal with. And sometimes you don't want to deal with that stuff. Sometimes you just want something rather basic that's going to work. And then this is it. You get a good size battery, you get a good size inverter. If you are interested in this unit, I actually have a really good coupon. It's Darbin Orvar, and I think it's like 38% off. So pretty good deal. They also have a really good deal if you wanted to buy 2 of these units, because remember, they're meant to be connected. So you can buy 2, connect them, and get a much larger system. Good deal if you buy 1 of them too, though, using my code. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. Let me know if you have any questions, or you know, I think that the 1800 watt inverter that's the key point here, though. It's nice that you can just like throw basically anything at it and it will work. And then of course the battery is just how long you can use it, obviously, and 1440 watts is a decent amount of space of battery to use for a lot of different things, whether you're going camping or you have an emergency, or you're using it as a UPS. Or you're kind of using it for all 3, right? Because sometimes, you know, you can use it for a UPS throughout, you know, everyday life. And then if there's an emergency, you unplug your stuff, you shut down your computer, you go and use it to plug in your fridge or charge up your whatever else. And then once in a blue moon, you go camping and you take it with you, right? So it kind of fills the boxes for all of those things. So anyway, check out the link in the description below. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon.